Dr. Obi, thank you so much for joining us on Insights.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. All right, chronic diseases, growing prevalence amongst the youth in Nigeria. I would like to ask from a medical perspective, what exactly is the problem? Could it be lifestyle or urbanization?
Well, thank you for the question. Chronic diseases, first, I think it's important to define what chronic diseases are. So, chronic diseases are illnesses or diseases that have lasted over a year at least. That where patients are dealing with an illness or a disease for more than a year, and those diseases are requiring treatment or management. And that's what a chronic disease is. And it's sort of a misnomer to, associate chronic diseases with youth because, a lot of times when we think about chronic diseases, we're thinking about elderly patients or patients who are older, not youth. So it is a concern. It's a big issue among the youth that illnesses that typically ascribed or associated with patients who are older are now being found in young people, the productive or the most productive um, you know, population in the nation. So a big concern, as you pointed out.
All right, Dr. Obi, we'll be doing a bit of education today. Most people have asked this question prior to this interview. What exactly is the difference between chronic diseases and terminal illnesses? Could you educate us on this?
Right. So chronic diseases are diseases such as I guess we can give examples. Diabetes, high blood pressure, things that are not going away. Cancers, for example, certain infections, HIV, tuberculosis. These are illnesses that don't necessarily go away. They're things that are managed. A terminal illness is an illness that a person has that leads to mortality, or to death, within a short period of time. So there are terminal cancers, for example. There are patients who have who may develop a certain condition that they have a short period of time that their survival is limited. So those are terminal diseases. So chronic diseases are diseases that one can sort of end up living with for a long period of time. And as I said, these are diseases that, things that happen over a year, at least a year period. So from diagnosis until, when those patients are being managed over that period of time.
A study by NCBI, the National Center for Biotechnology Information, says chronic disease is about 64.5% amongst Nigerian youth. How do we
Right.
reduce these figures? Because nations are actually working towards the eradication of diseases before 2030, and that is meeting the SDG goals on health and maternal mortality.
Excellent facts. Chronic diseases are really associated with lifestyle. And so, what are we talking about? Well, lifestyle, detriment that are detrimental to health. So, excessive alcohol use, smoking, diet, consuming, non-healthy foods, so to speak. Those are, being in environments that are, or in conditions that are detrimental to health. These are sort of lifestyle issues that affect our overall health. And so it's actually very paramount that, these things be tackled especially among the youth, because as you mentioned, a significant amount of our population in Nigeria is the youth. So 70% of the population is young people. And the prevalence of these diseases, as I mentioned, diabetes, high blood pressure, kidney disease, even heart disease, we're beginning to see strokes in patients that are young. These things are modifiable, meaning, if we can tackle the lifestyle issues that put people at risk, then absolutely, the incidence and prevalence of these chronic diseases can be reduced significantly.
Talking about the older persons, these demography usually have issues with um, financial response to non-communicable diseases. What should be
Mhm.
the financial response from the government? Because it looks like out
Yeah,
of pocket payment is actually not helping.
I mean, that's a big part of the challenge, the disparity that exists in terms of management of these diseases in a population. So, as we all know, the health of a nation is linked to the wealth of the nation. Meaning, if you have a healthy population, or at least a healthier population, that contributes to the wealth of the nation. And an investment, a critical investment, has to be made to health. And yeah, there are limited resources. We all know this. But I think if priority is given to health in addressing these chronic diseases that not only affect the elderly, as you mentioned, but significantly affect the younger people. I think we can get at least a better handle of this issue. So yes, there is a need for better investment, or a more significant investment in managing these challenges. Put in forth a budget that can help at least begin to bend the curve of what is happening in terms of the prevalence and incidence of disease among the population.
Interesting. Okay, would like to
Yeah.
hear from you again as a medical practitioner, from your perspective. How can chronic diseases be prevented and managed?
Yeah, so I think I'll allude to one thing. We all, what do we want out of life? Well, we all want to be happy, we want to be healthy, we want to interact with our families, and our friends, right? And the pursuit of that happiness and good health is our goal. Everyone, regardless of where you live, regardless of what kind of your background is. And so there are studies that have looked at this. They've looked at populations where people are happier or people live longer. These are called blue zones. These blue zones exist in the world where there are communities all across across the world where these populations live to about 90 years. The majority of those the members of these communities that exist naturally. And people have looked at, okay, so you go into this community. There's a place called Loma Linda in the United States. There's a Sandino in Italy. There's about 5 or 6 places. I'm sorry, 5 to 7 places around the world where the population lived to be 90 years or more. The majority of these populations. So they went, researchers went into these communities and said, hey, what are these people doing that we can replicate, right, in different parts of the world? And they found that, it's all about lifestyle, really. It's not the medications that I prescribe or the diagnosis that I make, but really these folks have some pillars in their community that they live by. And most of those things are related to lifestyle, related to how they associate with their family, related to faith, connection. Some people will say faith, some people say connection to something other than themselves, related to their diet, related to just being able to fellowship. So there's a branch of medicine called lifestyle medicine, and
Mm.
this focuses on lifestyle, not just medications. We know that there's a body of evidence that shows that what is really, really critical is lifestyle modification. And there are, as I said, these blue zones that exist all across the world, populations that have figured it out, and we should learn from them.
So we need to check our lifestyle. Very important. But quickly, Dr. Obi, the issue
Yeah,
of poor healthcare system, do you think this is a contributory factor to the growing figures in patients having chronic diseases?
absolutely. I mean, when someone is diagnosed, say, with kidney disease, right? Um, for example, there's 25 million people in Nigeria that have kidney disease or chronic kidney disease, for example. Those individuals have to find somewhere a healthcare system that is robust enough to handle their challenges. And so, yes, you do need a strong healthcare system, hospital system, physicians, nurses, administrators who are focused on making sure that patients or people who have, I just give an example of kidney disease, have a place to go, have a doctor to call, have a nurse, who have people who can actually take care of them. So absolutely, I agree with your statement that the healthcare infrastructure has to be um, robust enough to handle the challenges of managing these chronic problems that are prevalent and with very significant increase in incidence as well. So there are more people that are being diagnosed um, daily with these challenges or these health challenges, and then there are a lot more. This is critical. I agree. So prevention is better than cure. We all have heard that from the time we were little, young folks, and it still holds true till today. And yes, the primary care doctors, that are closest to the population, and people need to go in. Whether you feel healthy or not, you feel like, most people feel like, they move around, and they feel like nothing is happening. So a routine care is important. So meaning, even if a visit to the doctor once a year is critical and important, and that visit goes to the primary doctor, and the primary doctor can check their blood pressure and check their urine for protein, can check their sugar levels to make sure that these some of these things are detected, or they get counseling around their lifestyle, cessation of smoking, reduction of alcohol intake, and other behaviors that may be predisposing folks
Mm.
to chronic illness.
Would you give us tips on how to live healthy?
Yes, I think leaving healthy is common sense. I mean, I think we all sort of know what to do for the most part, but I think from my perspective and from what's out there, I think food is medicine, right? So that's number one. So what you consume is actually critical. So, if it's important to regulate what you put into your body because food is medicine. If you put in bad food into your body, then you're definitely going to predispose yourself to illness. So that's number one. Number two is exercise. So get some, be sort of intentional about getting some exercise. um, Very important as well, is health maintenance. So we all, if you have a vehicle, a car, or you have a bicycle, however you move around, we get health maintenance, right? I mean, or car maintenance. So just like your body needs maintenance. We all need sleep. Sleep is absolutely critical. 6 to 8 hours of sleep is essential for the brain to reset or to cool down and to for optimal functioning. So sleep is absolutely critical. Connection, purpose, having purpose. Every morning when you wake up, have purpose. In terms of to do something for others. I think that becomes yes philosophical, but it does have a positive influence on our physiology. um, those are some of the things, and I think there are plenty more. But I think those things that I just mentioned are absolutely critical.
Dr. Obi Ekwena, I want to thank you so much for enlightening us on Insight this week. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much. We do appreciate your contributions.